Hey, welcome to the World Warriors of Capcom Cup Player Showcase. I'm Ultra David.
And I'm James Chen. This is the series of videos where we go over all 32 qualifiers of the Capcom Cup, which is a culmination of a year-long Capcom Pro Tour, which will be taking place on the weekend of December 5th through 6th at the Sony PlayStation Experience. If you guys want to learn more about the Capcom Pro Tour and Capcom Cup in general, check this YouTube channel, youtube.com/UltraChen, / Capcom Fighters TV. I was about to plug our own stuff. Capcom Fighters TV, and look for the intro video that we made there. But we are here to talk about players.
The one we're going to talk about today is Red Bull's Snake Eyez from Southern California.
That's right. Just becoming such a fan favorite amongst players of, amongst fans of Street Fighter in general.
You know, it still feels to me like he's relatively new, but in thinking about it, in fact, he did well. He won the 25th anniversary qualifier in LA. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He was already that good that many years ago, and since then he has been getting better.
Yes. Frighteningly enough.
Yes.
It feels like he's been getting better.
Agreed.
And it's really interesting. One of the things that I like about it, and this is a big story for him just recently, he traveled to Japan recently for the Tokyo Game Show, but he stayed there for about 3 weeks just to play a lot of the top players out there and to gain more skill and to gain, just to get better as a player overall. And to me, a player who's had as much success as he had, he is an EVO champion for HDR, for HD Remix, Street Super Turbo. HD Remix. He won like the first year. Let's try this tournament out.
I think that was his second tournament ever,
yeah.
he said.
And for someone to have that much success and to have as much success as he has right now, it's really impressive for me to see that he's like, I need to get better. So he goes to Japan and tries to learn a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think he is getting better. But just in terms of his general style, I feel like he has an excellent set of spacing and footsie reactions. I feel like his mid-range tools are some of the best.
Yeah.
It's certainly some of the best in North America. I really feel that he has a great understanding of when to bring in some of Zangief's important tools.
Right.
So it's a mistake to think of Zangief in this game as being a primarily command grab type character. He's not. He's a footsie character whose payoff for good footsies is the chance at a pile driver mix-up. But that's what you have to do, is harass somebody into being worried.
Right.
And blocking.
Right.
And then it's time for the mix-up. So,
yeah.
But he is one of the best at doing that.
Yeah, so I mean, when you watch him, obviously he's almost a pure Zangief player. He barely uses SPDs, and in fact, in the rounds where I feel like he dominates the most is when he doesn't use SPD. And we'll get into this a little bit later on, but I do feel like one of his, you can even almost kind of tell when he struggles in matches, he'll turn to the SPD a little bit too much. This is something that I know I've said a lot on commentary and such like that. But I feel like that's actually kind of something that happens to him when he starts to panic a little. But the more he concentrates on the footsie game, the better I feel like he does. And you're right, Zangief is like barely grappler in this game.
It's like a payoff. It's not the primary thing. I also feel that he has a really good understanding of it's not just the ground mid-range game. It's also the air. Very important for Gief to have the right jump in at the right time and the right placement, all of those things. You have to mix up which buttons you use in the air, and he does all that stuff perfectly. So it's very tough for his opponents to keep track of both the ground, where he's harassing you with buttons, and also the air, where he's coming in with just the right button at just the right time. That's a difficult sort of thing to handle for most people.
Yeah, it's really interesting because towards the end of this year, it's gotten to a point right now where people's opinion of Zangief has really kind of shifted. In fact, some people, Vortex is a very common term used for characters like Seth and Akuma and everything like that. People have recently been saying now that they think the Zangief Vortex is more dangerous than it might be the most dangerous Vortex in Street Fighter 4. And one of the reasons for that, you talked about all the different buttons and everything. Zangief has a glitch since vanilla that people have taken advantage of. Zangief plays, which is the short jump. If people don't know how this works, if you hit just neutral jump and then immediately transition to forward flip before he leaves the ground, he ends up doing this ever so slightly shorter jump.
Yeah.
And when we go through the match, you'll see where this comes into play so often.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
for
so
sure.
Zangief has really kind of transformed as this, standard. I mean, in vanilla, he was a lariat monster, and then, he became kind of this grappler kind of guy. And now in Ultra, it's like all about footsies and EX Green Hand.
Yes, he is a very, very good character. Definitely, he's the best Zangief in North America. Mm-hmm. Okay, probably outside of Japan. I don't think that that's much of a contention. There are some people who think that there are a couple of other, at least as good, maybe better Zangiefs. But he has had the tournament results all over the place,
right.
To back up his claim as being, certainly top 2. Maybe it's sort of in there. Another Gief has also made it. And we'll see what happens there. But it's not just Zangief now. He does. He does have a secondary pick in the Evil Ryu. He brings it out relatively rarely, but he has beaten very strong players with it.
Yeah, I mean, he says that he's kind of hiding a little bit of the Evil Ryu stuff that he has for Capcom Cup. I don't know. We'll see if that works out or not, or if that pays off.
Yeah, well, it's important for Gief to have a character that can back him up. He, like I said, good character, but he does have some bad matchups.
Yes.
And so as a lot of other top players have done with different characters, you want to make sure that you always put yourself in the best situation you can to win. And it seems like he has, at least, a few times this year, thought that Evil Ryu gives him a better chance than Zangief does.
Yeah, and I like that. I'm happy he's doing that because there are a lot of situations where players like him will be like, no, I'm a Zangief player. I represent Zangief, the Red Cyclone, and they refuse to play a lot. I like the fact that, he's like, you know what? I'm here to win, so I'm going to use another character if I need to. We're not, I know both of us are not 100% sold on Evil Ryu as the secondary character, but it still will give him a better chance on some matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as how well he has done in the past, year and a half, more or less, since Ultra has come out, he has had a lot of success.
Yes.
In fact, and let's go through that now. The Fall Classic 2014, he got first place.
That's right.
Absolute Battle 5, he got first. NEC last year, 3rd. Hadouken 6th, 5th. Canada Cup Master Series 5th. Apex 2015 2nd. Winter Brawl 9 1st. Final Round 18 7th. NCR 2015 9th. Texas Showdown 2nd. SCR Prelude 1st. CEO 2015 9th. Hadouken 7 1st. Evo 2015 13th place overall out of about 2,200. EGL Dallas 4th. Summer Jam 9 2nd. First Attack 2015 2nd. The Fall Classic 2015 1st. SCR 2015 5th. Defend the North 2015 2nd. And then Canada Cup 2015 he got 5th overall.
That's right.
So that's a lot of good results in there.
Right.
And a couple of tournament wins.
Yeah, it's a very, very consistent set of results. Like getting in the top 8 consistently. Now, he fluctuates between winning and getting in the bottom. That's part of Zangief life right there. But overall, one of the most consistent players all around.
I will say this, though. Here are some other results. Capcom Cup 2014, 13th out of 16. Recall last year's Capcom Cup, he went 0-2.
That's right.
That is to say, he won 0.
After some people said that he was going to win. So, I don't know.
I don't know who he's talking about. Or what series of videos that might have been. South by Southwest Invitational, he got 9th. Okay, then let's see. There was one other. And Tokyo Game Show this year, 33rd.
Right, the one where he did go to Japan. Yes.
Right. So there are these tournaments that are those are invitationals, or they are closed tournaments that are populated by a ton of killers. So in those kind of situations, he hasn't had quite the same success. And of course, that is this situation that we're talking about. Capcom Cup 2015 is going to be 32 of the best players in the world.
Yeah, and that's where I'm happy that he is trying other characters besides Zangief, because I think he's going to need that. But obviously, he's done a lot of work. He's beaten a lot of bad matchups. Sagat, he's beaten a lot of good Sagat players and such like that. So he's definitely poised to do pretty well. And like I said, he knows Zangief like nobody else that I feel like. I mean, again, maybe Itabashi, Hagajin, a couple of other players are
hard
in
to
there.
know.
But in the match that we're going to watch, he's going to be going up against Dominions Guile. Now, on paper, for the longest of time, this match was always like, oh, Guile wins this match. And just recently, it's really shifted. And yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't believe this anymore. In fact, some people think Zangief just wins this match outright.
I thought Zangief won it outright in vanilla.
Well, and you're the smart guy. So.
and then in Super, I thought it was basically even. And there was that was when Guy was good. Mm-hmm. But I agree. I would say, personally, I feel like it's a slight advantage for Zangief. He just has... As we'll see, he has good buttons on the ground, and he has the ability to get in against Guile in the air in a way that most people can't quite do.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Guile is he's really weak on wake up, and because Zangief has this ridiculous vortex that you're gonna get to see here, it just causes Guile so much problems. So
it does.
Now the match that we're gonna watch is the Fall Classic, where he did take first place here in this tournament. We're going to start in the middle of the first set. So Snake Eyez is coming from loser's bracket, so he has to win 2 sets. We're actually going to start in the first set where it's 1-1 already, and then we're just going to go on from there. So,
it's just a time thing, time considerations.
The second set was kind of fast.
A little faster. But so we wanted to get the closer set in there.
Right, exactly. So
okay, well, let's
just go ahead and go through here. Yep. So here we go. He's just won this one to take it to 1-1.
Okay.
And
Dominion, one of the best Guiles in the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Top 2 Guile. Much the same situation that Snake Eyez is in. Top 2 or whatever with his character.
Right. And it's really interesting because Guile is just not one of those characters that's used a lot even around the world. Maybe in Europe a couple of them. But
there's one in Europe. There's a couple in the U.S.
Yeah, I don't know very many Guiles in Japan, but... in any case,
right.
This is about Zangief.
So exactly. There's already been a lot of mid-range harassment by Zangief. You see, this medium kick is very strong against Guile. Yeah, it counterpokes a lot of what Guile wants to do.
And you've already seen him use 2 or 3 different buttons on jumping, and no punish there from Dominion. But again, that's just another strength that Zangief has. He has a jump fierce, which is for horizontal range, a jump forward, which is for vertical range,
jump medium kick.
Yeah, and a jump light kick, the knees. That shrinks his hurt box.
Right.
There's just a lot of different options for him in the air. We even saw him do a chase down jump strong a little bit earlier, which was I didn't see anybody do that. Yeah, exactly.
So Dominion ends up pulling that round out, but I nevertheless I liked how Snake Eyez was harassing with medium kick. There's a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of times he stands at about that range, looking for a Guile to press a button, sticking out a crouching short. If it hits, fantastic. EX hand, red focus.
Right. And I'm just going to say that Zangief is probably top 3 scariest character with 4 bars.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, entirely.
Because that EX green hand into red focus is not even just what's so good about it. It's the fact that he gets the German suplex afterwards, almost always puts Zangief into the corner and sets up the Zangief vortex with that short jump.
You know it.
Yeah, so it's not even the damage that he gets, but it's the setup is just such a huge payoff off of that.
So we've already seen Snake harass Dominion enough that he's been able to do walk-up pile driver a couple of times. And you see that that's often what the mix-up is should Dominion stick out a button? No, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
Should Dominion stick out a button to prevent that pile driver from coming in? Or should he block because Snake Eyez is going to be using stand medium kick, stand short, crouching short, buttons that will beat Guile's option.
Right.
It's a hard mix-up to deal with.
Yeah, Guile can't keep Zangief out from the ground like he could in all the older Street Fighter games. It's just not quite the same thing. Zangief definitely, especially with the EX green hand, which has become such a tool for Zangief now because it's a horizontal uppercut. I know you've called it that a lot, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And then here we go. So Dominion.
Huge life lead.
Wow,
even with the back fist.
Yep. Ooh. And
But Gifa's never out of it, all he needs is one pile driver, one sweep, just like this.
Okay, so he goes here, and the double German suplex always sets him up this vortex, front or back.
Ooh, buddy. Here's what I love about that, is that was a grab confirm. He jumped up into the air and he saw that Dominion was in the air. He didn't immediately do Ultra 2 as a lot of people will do.
Wasn't like a tiger knee. Yeah.
Right. No, he went up into the air and he said, "Oh, you're in the air too. Here's the buttons."
Right. So he's just gonna do the motion, and if he's in the air, then he hits the button.
Right.
It was a huge call out because if it didn't work, he was just gonna get flash kicked or something like that. But still, wow. It's a great read to actually have that ready to go in that situation.
Agreed.
So yeah, he really steals that game from Dominion.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like it's a big destruction for Zangief. It's not a free matchup by any sense. I still think it's close.
Yeah, in fact, if you guys watch the Dominion video, we're gonna have a match where basically it's these two guys again, and Dominion wins that one.
Right. Yeah.
So you can see it's definitely a back and forth. But
So when did that pile driver come? It came at the end of the round after already Snake Eyes has done jumping medium kick to buttons, or after he's already done Ultra 2 to discourage jumping away.
Snake Eyes has a really strong read on when opponents get surprised by something.
Yes.
That's when he gets the SPDs the most. Oh, I got hit by this jump attack. And then SPD.
Right.
Oh, I didn't expect this low forward to whiff. Oh, I got SPD. He's really good at going for the SPDs in the non-obvious locations as opposed to the really obvious locations.
Yes. You see him sticking out those buttons there. He's really hoping that Guile sticks out a counter poke, although it didn't come.
Yeah, we're going to see him get a lot of benefit out of that, which is the buffer option select, where he's just basically hitting a button and canceling into EX green hand. And if Guile sticks a button out and gets countered...
Here's one of those bad situations.
Yeah.
So again, Guile with the big life lead.
Vortex. Short jump.
That was a short jump. He landed in the front, and he wouldn't have if he had done a regular jump. So here's another one of those situations, again, for the win.
And regular jump
That's what
that
it was.
time. Yep. And it's really interesting, too, because I will say one thing about Snake Eyes. This might actually be one of his main weaknesses, though, is that it paid off for him this time. He won. But he spends meter in losing situations a lot of times. I've seen him do this a couple of times where, like, in trying to make the comeback, he'll just blow, like, this gigantic chunk of meter and then lose a round and then have nothing in the next round. But it worked for him this time.
So Snake Eyes is the guy on the right in the Red Bull hat, Yomi Dominion on the left. Mm-hmm. And they're going to stick with their same characters. So we've seen Snake Eyes...
Yeah, he just reset the bracket here.
Yes, he did, exactly. Yeah. So hence, they're both at 0-0. One of them needs to win 3 games to take this tournament at this point. Snake Eyes has been able to get in when he needs to, right? And even if a lot of the round is Guile keeping Snake Eyes out, really all that Zangief needs is one entrance.
Yep.
And we've already seen that twice in 2 separate rounds.
Because you can see, every time Guile keeps Zangief out, it's 2 hits, 1 hit, a throw,
right?
Sonic Boom, a low forward. Every time Zangief gets in, Guile just bleeds life, basically, I mean, that's like the best punish that Dominion was going to get in that situation.
That was a fantastic punish, to be honest.
And see all these little individual fierce punches and stuff like that, but...
Oh, that's exactly the right button. Typically at that range, Guile gets a free medium kick, but wow.
And then
down
that
short
EX gives him that setup again. Oh, tricks it. Yeah, so one of the deadliest things about Zangief is low short. Because if you try to jump away with an SPD...
Oof, there's that buffer.
That buffer OS. Yeah, there it was right there. But if you try to jump away from Zangief when he does low short, you get hit by the low short.
Yes.
Because you're not low blocking anymore.
Correct.
And then if you don't jump, then he SPDs you. It's just such a...
It's a good mix-up, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough mix-up to deal with. Oof.
These are always the hardest situations for me. What do you do on the 3rd time? Oh, it doesn't even come up. Those are hard mix-ups, man.
And again, Zangief now sitting on a full bar, and he's just
right. So
scared.
any of these counter poke buttons, and so Snake Eyes is moving forward into very strong ranges, where he knows that his buttons will take priority, and if one of them hits at the right time, he didn't
use it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he could have done EX hand into red focus and been close to the end of the round right now.
You see him just walk up and block so many low forwards. He doesn't care. That's how Zangief plays.
Sure. Yeah, you can't be worried about your life bar. That was pretty good though.
Yeah, Dominion now trying to get this comeback, and I suspect Snake Eyes was hoping that wasn't going to be a true block string. He was trying to lariat at the last second, but didn't happen. So good stuff to Dominion. Makes a huge comeback of his own.
What a jump timing, man.
Yeah.
It so much looked like he was going to walk forward. That's such a good understanding of the moments.
See, right there, again, you try to get away because you're afraid of the SPD.
Look at that medium kick. Look at that medium kick. Oh. Wow, he got a stun from medium kick. What good timings on that. What good placement. And the reason that worked is because Dominion is worried about walk-up jab, pile driver. Doesn't want to let Zangief into that range, so he's pressing crouch and medium kick, whatever other buttons. And Snake Eyez just had the exact right timing and placement for medium kick counter.
Yep.
So pretty quick 2-0 in this last set.
And here comes Snake Eyez, yeah. So you can just see one of the things that's important to note about Zangief is that life meter doesn't matter. Life meter is just a measure of how many more hits you can take in a weird. I mean, that sounds obvious, but
just think of it as a resource that you can spend to get in.
Right.
That's all.
Because like I said, he does so much damage when he gets in. So that's just basically what Zangief. Oh gosh, yeah, it just uses the right buttons every time he jumps. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I think that's one of his big strengths. Yeah, look at that perfect timing on that jump.
And see, when he hit him with the jump forward, it was like, oh, I got hit by the jump forward. And then that's when he went with the SPD. Oh.
You saw the startup of a Guile crouching medium kick there, but it just wasn't in time. Just wasn't in time. Snake was already there.
Oh, I accidentally dashed into that. Good start for Dominion, but again, it's just...
That's such a good chase down, by the way. That's really impressive. Oh, again! So, same sort of thing where he looked, he saw... He
waited, yeah.
He waited, exactly. But what I love about that, too, is that it was at a timing after that jump short where oftentimes people can move. Right. And so Guile and Dominion knew that, okay, I'm going to move. Well, that was the counter to that.
Yeah, and that time, so he did the short jump from the front, hit him by surprise, and then dropped his own combo so he could get the kick SPD, which put him in the same vortex situation again. And then he did the short jump again, Dominion. Last time, remember, Snake Eyez did short jump and then regular jump.
Yeah.
That time he did short jump twice in a row, so Dominion just walked into it.
I'm sorry, that was 2-0.
Oh, yeah. Because the hardest thing about it is he's jumping from the same distance. So you literally can't judge based on where Zangief is, whether he's going to hit from the front or the back.
And he's starting to get good reads right now. Like, he had the jab, green hand right there to chase backdash in an unsafe situation, but he had the right read.
Yeah, and this is just get off me kind of thing from Dominion. Still even has to take a fierce. I do love that space that he built, though, dashing forward from Dominion. Good stuff.
So you see Snake threatening from the front, threatening grounded,
right?
But you know he wants to jump.
Yeah. And every time you see that low short where he whiffs it, that's him buffering into the EX green hand just in case Guile tries the back fist. Oh, yeah.
I like the idea, but no.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Dominion that he didn't get the punish there. I think Dominion wasn't even going to believe that it was going to miss for half a second or something. But again, that jump forward, so good.
And again, it was the right button at the right time in the right place. Yeah. And afterward, rather than going for grab this time, he went for buttons, which counter hit Dominion trying to get out of that situation.
Yep, caught him by surprise again. And here's that vortex. Okay, good block.
Oh, the weight though, the little stagger first. What timing on that?
Yeah, because you see that stagger and you're like, oh, he's going to SPD me. So you try to jump and then he catches you with the low short and then gets this giant gob of damage.
Right, yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was at a range where that flash kick could not be FADC'd.
Right.
So there it is, right there. And you can see that, it's just knowing the right buttons, knowing the right moves to use, and just having all the right timing. And he's going to take that event, so...
Excellent footsies, excellent understanding of the mix-ups. I love the timings. It all came from good spots on screen. So I really like almost all the things he does. I think that he just has a great command of his character, and I think he's a really tough player to play against.
Yeah. So I've often talked about this whole concept of emotion versus science players, and a lot of the old school players I feel like were more of the emotion players. There was a domination at that time. There was lack of training mode, all that kind of stuff like that. So that's why that really solid concept of footsies kind of came into play. And it's really interesting to me because someone like Snake Eyez is one of the more new generation players, but his understanding of footsies is on that level. It feels like it's he has this really, really strong understanding of how you're supposed to play the game in that neutral situation. Yeah, which is perfect for Zangief. So.
I'm with you. I think he has the right character for himself. When it comes to Capcom Cup, what do you think might be something in his way?
Well, you mentioned he has the right character for himself. unfortunately, that's not always the right character for all situations.
Right.
Zangief obviously has some bad matchups.
Sure.
Right? Primarily Sagat. Even though, he has some experience with there. We've seen situations like at the Master Series in Canada early in 2015, Shanghai 7-0'd him.
Yes. Although he has beaten Bonchan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He hasn't also been dunked by some other Sagats. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I think that Elena is a really good character against Zangief. We've even seen Infiltration bust out a Hugo against him.
That's right.
And so, look, there's going to be a lot of Elenas at Capcom Cup. Not only that, but I swear, like, a fourth of the people there have a backup Sagat just to kill Zangief. So the thing that's going to get in Snake Eyes' way the most, honestly, is just character matchup problems.
I think you're right. And Evil Ryu can make some of those better, certainly. Certainly he has a better matchup against Sagat. But is it a counter pick?
Right.
I don't really think so. And there are other characters that Geef loses to, mostly keep away types, Jury and whatever else. That, again, I think Evil Ryu does okay against, but not really a counter. So I'm not, even though obviously Evil Ryu is a very good character, I'm just not sure that is the right character to support a Zangief.
Right.
I don't know, but he's certainly done well with it.
Yeah. And what do you think is going to take for him to win Capcom Cup? Like, what is it that he has to do to take this event?
I really think he has to have that secondary character ready to go. I really feel like that has to be polished and ready. And I feel like he has to sort of figure out what has hampered him in other big invitational type tournaments. Again, last year's Capcom Cup, he didn't win a game. And it's not just that. The 33rd at Tokyo Game Show, where it was closed entry and very, very good players were in there.
Right.
I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what that barrier is for him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because last year, going into Capcom Cup, both of us, we kind of hinted at this. We were really high on Snake Eyes at that point. And what I've discovered since then is I feel like as much as... So I just talked about how great his footsies is.
Yeah.
His footsies are super good. I hinted at this a little bit earlier too. His footsies are not the best. He's like in the 90th percentile,
okay,
maybe.
Enough, yeah.
Whatever. But if he runs into someone whose footsies are better than his, he has a really tough time. Momochi blew him up last year at Capcom Cup. At EVO this year, Daigo beat him up at EVO, right? And so it's just when he goes up against a player who has these fundamentals, who can out-fundamental him, he actually has problems. And that's where I see him go into SPD mode, where all of a sudden he just feels like he needs to land the SPD instead of using that as the payoff for the footsies. And so that's why I think he does, less effectively at some of these invitationals, because at the invitationals, that's where you're going to find the Momochis and the Daigos and these guys with ridiculous... Fudo blew him up at EVO that one year.
Last year, 2014.
That's right. And so I feel like that's going to be the area that he needs to really, really focus on. It's not necessarily that get better at footsies. It's just that if you are getting beat by the footsies, to remain calm.
Yeah, okay.
And to keep realizing that Zangief has that comeback potential.
Right.
Don't go into SPD mode that he kind of does at times. So,
all right. I guess we'll see how he does.
Yeah. I mean, how do you think he's going to do overall?
Look, I hesitate a bit just because of how he has done in these big tournaments, and without knowing, as we're recording this, what the bracket exactly is. I'm sure that's known whenever you're viewing it on YouTube, but we don't know it. Without knowing that stuff, it's just hard to say, because I really feel like that is a big part of it. Which character and opponent does he get matched up with? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I feel like he is more of a crapshoot than some other people. If he solves things and if he gets the right players and characters, I think he could do fantastically. I really do. I am very high on him. But if he runs into some other people, I don't think he'll go 0-2 again. Okay, I don't think that'll happen again. But I think he'll have a tough time.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I feel like he'll do better than last year, but going 1-2 is better than last year.
Right.
So I think he's definitely learned a lot, especially from going to Japan.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he got a lot better when he came back from there. I don't know. Like you said, it just depends on who he runs into, and like I said, if he just gets counterpicked, it could possibly happen if he gets paired up with just the wrong people in the first two matches. You know?
Yeah, it is possible. But he's mentioned by Nemo, one of the best players in the world, as being top 5 players outside of Japan. So he comes highly respected, not just here in the U.S., but also in Japan as well. I guess we'll see. That'll be at the Capcom Cup, which is the weekend of December 5th through 6th at the PlayStation Experience in San Francisco.
That's right. If you're in the area, if you're going to be there, or if you make a trip, definitely, go check it out. It's going to be an awesome live event.
Yes.
If you can't make it there, obviously, you can watch it twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters. Give them a follow there. Give them a follow on Twitter as well, Capcom Fighters, so that you'll be notified as soon as it starts, because you do not want to miss any of it.
And if you like this sort of stuff where we talk about fighting games analytically, then you might want to check out our own stuff, which you can find at twitch.tv and youtube.com/UltraChenTV.
Yeah, not only that, but we also kind of do like a weekly show on every Tuesday where we recap past events, we talk about new game news that's coming out, we talk about some of the heated current topics of the FGC, of the fighting game community and such. So, good stuff to get all of your FGC news in one spot in one time.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see you at Capcom Cup.